Hello, I'm Suzanne Hubbard, and I'm so proud to be a part of this program. In 2012, at the end of the Mayan calendar, my mother, Barbara Marx Hubbard, celebrated Birth 2012. And ever since then, she was preparing for what she called the planetary awakening in 2020. And I feel that what you're doing here with this wonderful event is an example of the planetary awakening, and she would deeply appreciate it. And also the three crises of COVID-19, unemployment, and the killing of George Floyd. I'm sure that she would have seen the whole compounded crisis of this as the birth pains of the planetary awakening. And she would be one of the only people who would have this kind of hopeful message and view about this. Also, the way that you're doing this online is an example of what she always hoped would happen, and that is that the noosphere, the thinking layer of the earth, would get its collective eyes. And so all of you, and we're all the eyes witnessing this and supporting this birth. I've been very influenced by my mother's work, conscious evolution, the idea of a universal human, and that evolution evolves through us are the three main things that have been very exciting to me. Conscious evolution, the idea that we do not have to constantly adapt to worsening conditions, was very hopeful to me as a child. In the mid-1990s, there were a series of conferences called the Universal Human Conferences held in Wilsonville, Oregon, which were really discussing is a new branch of the human species appearing, a universal human. And my mother was a presenter at these conferences, and the idea was to really identify different characteristics of this new human. So this human would be love-guided, more intuitive, and most of all, universal self-conscious. And the third idea that really intrigued me was that evolution evolves through us. And through my mother, I became introduced to Ervin Laszlo's work. And the science in the Akashic field has been very inspiring to me, as well as the Chaos Point 2012 and beyond, our choice between global disaster and a sustainable planet. And in that particular book, Ervin talks about a chaos window, which he calls a human decision window. And this is where those three ideas really came together for me: conscious evolution, a universal human who is universal self-conscious, aware that we're all one, and that evolution evolves through us. And so it occurred to me that if this universal human, and we're each aware in our unique way that we have this deeper true identity of a universal self, that the choice in the decision window is to totally respond to how it is that we're called to express it. And that decision is how evolution, it's a conscious decision, and evolution then evolves through us. And Ervin makes it very clear that if we don't make that choice, we still impact evolution. So we have a choice for evolution to go in a de-evolutionary direction, or to break through to new systems and modes of operating as Irvin would say. And so my work has been just thinking, okay, if we are universal self-conscious, how do we make this choice? I mean, we can intellectually make a choice, but my contribution to this whole discussion is what I'm calling an organic, personal conscious evolution. And it really evolved out of the influence of my mother and also my father, Earl Wade Hubbard. I'm the oldest of 5 children, and I actually grew up with them discussing a lot of these concepts in the background while I was playing with my horses. I loved horses as a child. And so now I am also very different from my mother. I identify myself as a mother weaver and gardener. And actually the things that I do are exactly what it was that my mother, it just absolutely was not of her interest. And, so she went a whole different path. But I've discovered that through mothering, weaving, and gardening, that there's this integrative cyclic rhythm in these processes, and that these are fractals of evolution, and they express the wisdom of the unwritten book, which I feel is also an example of universal self-awareness. And ever since the Universal Human Conferences in the 1990s, I've been working on trying to express this. And one of the difficulties is that it's hard to communicate universal self-awareness, because it's more seeing, being, and becoming. Because if you are a pathway for evolution, then it is being in the dance of life with evolution, and whatever evolves through that dance and through that relationship is what it is. You see what I'm saying? And you're more a conduit or an agent. And so, but anyways, I've tried to express it, and it's taken a quarter of a century. And I've just completed a book about, and it's called The Unwritten Book, because that relates to the unwritten book of life. The Unwritten Book and Your Life Book Journal, an Organic Personal Conscious Evolution. And I would like to read parts of the introduction to you, just to give you an idea of what it is that I wish to contribute to all of your conversation, because I feel it's all hands on deck now. Becoming who we truly are can make all the difference in the world. I join a growing family of individuals who are, at this point, desperately trying to preserve, protect, and change what appears to be a relentless human assault on the planetary system on which all life depends. Ecologists, naturalists, activists, conservationists, educators, politicians, artists, and many more are raising their voices and taking action. I wish to contribute with a perspective on what could be the latent human potential to co-evolve. In other words, a solution to problems being caused by independent ways of life could be discovering what would innately inspire becoming interdependent. Nature may be experimenting with the species who can become universal self-conscious and guided. The experiment will fail unless we choose to respond. The purpose of this book is to support making this choice by identifying how we personally experience the call to co-evolve. In the same breath that I completed this book in early 2020, the pandemic, the novel coronavirus, COVID-19, emerged and is threatening our collective ability to breathe. The rhythmic inhale and exhale cycle of the breath, which sustains life, is also what unifies each to the other and everything with the shared larger whole. The unwritten book in your Lifebook Journal in Organic Personal Conscious Evolution is timely as it embraces a biological and spiritual truth: we are all connected. One of the miracles of a virus flying through national and state borders as fluidly as irreverent storm systems is that it has inspired this awareness. The difference between now and when I wrote this book is the business as usual world may be irrevocably altered by an invisible enemy capable of threatening our very existence. What has not changed, however, are a host of pending calamities that could prove to be even more destructive than a major health crisis. A possible alternative direction, however, has tiptoed out of hiding as millions retreated indoors. The interruption of a primarily materialistic human purpose has allowed a hopeful potential, a new reason to live, to enter the world stage. The opportunity for us is also ecologically compatible. The upwelling from homes, villages, and cities far-flung around the globe, expressing the same empathetic message, we are connected, is an indication a more whole-oriented purpose could reshape the environments that we live in. This suddenly, the prospects of humans participating ecologically became apparent as we responded with unified self-awareness. This knowledge is a valuable resource as it provides a compass during a time of great confusion and insecurity. Taking it to heart, for example, could set the stage for global healing and renewal. An organic personal conscious evolution is a choice to respond to instinctual and emotional connections because it is a vital reference for meeting our human needs. Days of quarantine have bleached the socio-economic infrastructure of its integrity like a severe case of osteoporosis crumbles the human skeleton. It has proven brittle, unreliable, and when it collapses has left us helpless to help ourselves and others. As the dust of the old world bones blow away, however, what is left is our simple humanity, our most valuable resource and inner compass to a renewed balance which could meet people's needs appropriately, as well as the planet's requirement for interdependent relationships, can be discovered within us. The difference between acting on conventional perspectives, all of which have biases, and instinctual and heart awareness of the oneness of life, the first creates conflict while the other influences harmony. An Australian Aboriginal elder recently addressed the devastating wildfires in his country. The greatest thing we have to offer today is our humanity, because it is all we ever had. Homelessness, the opioid crisis, global warming, and economic, racial, and social inequalities, all forms of oppression and exclusionary offensiveness, can only be possible when one believes all are separated and unrelated. African-American George Floyd would be alive today were our humanity to be embraced as a reference for making grounded, spiritual, and ecologically sound decisions. Institutionalized perspectives have lost touch with the connective tissue of human self-awareness. The unwritten book cultivates, weaves, and gestates this biological and spiritual truth with the help of one's own deepest impulse and attraction to see, be, and become who we truly are. I so much look forward to hearing what all of you are up to, because we really need each other, and you just are each a ray of light in this dark time. And I think when we come together, it will just magnify. So sending love to everybody, and thank you. Thank you very much.